Hello, UNLV fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Rebel Nation. I'm Tom Spousta, Assistant Sports Editor at the Review Journal, and I'm with Mark Anderson, the UNLV beat writer who covers football, basketball, all things Rebels. Mark, let's go right into what happened with the Rebels against Air Force. It was an entertaining game.
It was.
In parts, but there were just moments where, again, they just seemed to stub their foot.
Well, the third quarter looked like it was over. They were down 41-21, and I started flipping through the UNLV media guide because they'd given up 50 and 59 the past two games, and I figured, well, Air Force is at 41 in the third quarter, a good chance they'll hit 50. Trying to find last time they gave up 50 points 3 straight games in a season. I think it was 1978 or something like that, or 86, I think.
1986, wow.
So, something like that. So I'm like figuring that's going to be kind of the storyline, and then suddenly, Air Force can't get out of its own way. A couple fumbles, that sort of thing. UNLV's offense picks it back up, and next thing you know, it's a one-possession game. UNLV's driving, trying to win the game. So I gave the Rebels credit for the fight they had. I think Tony Sanchez said it right after the game. The desire, or the energy there, the effort was there, but the execution was not. Mm-hmm. And so that was what they were missing. The defense obviously struggled pretty much throughout. They gave up scores, I think, on the first 8 drives, 2 field goals and 6 touchdowns or something like that.
You talk about holding them under 50 points. At this point, are there any moral victories with UNLV? It seems like that is all they might have left at this point.
Well, when you're in the 4th year of a coach's tenure, you got to throw moral victories out. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. If you're building the program your first couple of years, especially UNLV State, where it's such a rebuilding job, you can point to like, hey, this is a good performance against Boise State, or something like that.
Or if Wisconsin comes in and
USC, I guess, might have qualified as a moral victory to begin the season.
May have been the best game they played all year.
So I mean, that's the one exception you make a team like that.
Speaking of Sanchez's tenure, like you say, he's in his 4th year. He's got to realize that the job is just not getting done at this point. Where do you think, in your mind, as things stand around the program? Are they going to take a really hard look this year? And I know we talked about this in past years. Are they going to take a hard look this year?
I think so. Desiree Reed-Francois, the athletic director, came here from Virginia Tech, where their athletic director was very quiet about how he did business. When he hired, I think it was Justin Fuente, the football coach. Right. No one knew about it until he actually made the hire. Desiree learned from that. And so in previous administrations, you could talk to people around the program who had really good insight to what the AD was thinking, even if the AD wasn't willing to talk about it. If I had to put money on it, I think he'll be back for a 5th season. Figure you give him all 5 years. You have the perfect out where your starting quarterback got hurt this year. That changed the season. And so you could say there are a lot of good things he's doing. He deserves to give it the full ride. At least the past 4 coaches got at least 5 years. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't get 5 years, it's probably not a good look. Can they afford to buy him out anyway? He got that extension. I think he will get another year. But if they finish with 2 or 3 wins or 4 wins, there's going to be pressure to make a move.
So you think there are things going on behind the scenes in your mind, definitely. You think he will get a 5th year. At the same time, she's a new athletic director. This is a chance to put her stamp on the program. What are the chances? Are you hearing anything along those lines?
I am. I think she wants to show she can do a national coaching search in one of the major sports. And that's another thing. We don't know how basketball is going to play out. UNLV basketball is picked middle of the pack in the conference. Not what UNLV fans want. Fans weren't showing up at the Thomas and Mack Center. They're not showing up at Sam Boyd Stadium. So she may also be thinking she has to take a hard look at the basketball program. Do you want to make 2 major changes in 1 year?
Speaking of basketball, the Rebels had an outdoor exhibition of sorts, I believe, before the game against Air Force. Marvin Menzies arrived in a limousine, I believe, showed up at a limousine. They had, a couple hundred people out there. Describe that scene, and let's just switch over to basketball right now. Where are we at as far as the basketball team goes?
Yeah, they're trying to gin up interest for basketball, and this is something that they really haven't done the past couple of years, is try to get this kind of preseason interest going. Marvin Menzies, since he's gotten here, has actually tried to downplay things, try to keep things kind of quiet. because I think he's known what kind of building job it is. He doesn't want to under-deliver. But Desiree, I think, wants to. She's concerned about the crowds, and so she wants to get people talking basketball.
Can fans expect a young, raw team to kind of come out of the gate and just try to develop, hopefully quickly, or is it more of a rebuilding year in your mind?
Well, they'll never say it's a rebuilding year, but Menzies has said more than once that he's looking at the long-term picture.
Right.
So that tells, and you can just look at his recruiting. He's not bringing in a bunch of junior college players and a bunch of four-year transfers. He's bringing in a lot of high school players, and so you can tell by his actions as well as his words that they're not looking to go to the NCAA tournament this season. But they're looking to build up the program so that once they go back to the tournament, it's a sustainable thing. It's not just here and there. It's every year. So they do have a couple freshmen who could really step up and play really well. Trey Woodbury and Bryce Hamilton are two guards who could really come in and play really well. They got a post player, Joel and Tombois, that the coaches are really high on, who's I think was overlooked in recruiting, but the coaches seem to be really high on him. So he might be a surprise to most fans. So they have some pieces, and Shakir Juice is a potential all-conference player.
Right.
He's back. This is going to be his team. And their point guard, Noah Robotham, he's a senior, started 3 years at Akron. He's a really heady player. You talk to him, just a really smart guy. He's the kind of guy you want at point guard. So he's the kind of guy you don't think he's going to beat himself. He's going to make the right decisions to get the ball in the right spots.
Again, it sounds sort of like the football team. You got some really individual pieces. Right. You got some talented players, 3, maybe 4-star recruits, yet it just hasn't come together in both sports at this point.
No, it hasn't. And football obviously is a longer struggle than basketball, and it's harder to turn around. But it's, they thought this would be the season they get to a bowl, and Armani's injury changed everything, but it shouldn't be the overriding deal. By this point, they should have enough pieces, to overcome that. And Max Gillum, as he showed in this last game, can throw the ball. So they got to do. I don't know what to do about that defense, though. That's the problem.
Right.
And it looked good early in the season, or relatively good. Basketball, I think Marvin's trying to get away from the Brandon McCoy type recruit. Someone who's going to be here for the long term, and so that's going to take time. They're not doing what Eric Musselman's doing, where he got all these transfers. He wants to build up with the high schools. We'll see if it works. He's also doing it the old-fashioned way, where he's doing it. One of the players in the back to the basket
type players, post up,
instead of the 3-point shooters. Maybe he's right. Maybe you go against the grain and do something different. But that's not the way basketball's going.
Here we are at a key point for both sports with the UNLV Rebels. Football season is winding down. Some key games coming up. We have UNLV basketball ready to kick off here. For all things UNLV, read Mark Anderson and watch his videos at reviewjournal.com and in the Las Vegas Review Journal.